Welcome, Interisti, to episode 144 of the InterViews podcast, the official podcast of SempreInter.com. We are here for the reaction to Inter going to the final of the Champions League for the second time in 3 years after what was an absolute classic of a tie against Barcelona. On Reset It, Beckham was saying it. A lot of people have come out and said it was the greatest Champions League tie of all time. I can't remember anything that not only would be greater than that, but even comes close to what we saw from a 7-6 aggregate win by Inter over Barcelona. With extra time over the two legs, both legs finishing 3-3. Truly a spectacular display for people that love football around the world, although some of the takes have been pretty amazing and are kind of showing that maybe these people don't really love football, but we'll get into all that. Let's just dive into what happened with this game quickly here. Inter wins 4-3, goals from Lautaro Martinez in the 21st, Hakan Calhanoglu in the 40th minute on a penalty, Eric Garcia in the 54th, Dani Olmo equalizing 2-2 in the 60th, Rafinha in the 87th in what a lot of people thought would be the end of the game. No, our center back with his first touch in the penalty box all game in the 3rd minute, Francesco Acerbi. And then in extra time, the much maligned Davide Frattesi. Somehow, some way, this guy scores the most important goals in the 99th minute, and Inter holds on throughout the rest of extra time. No penalties needed. We win 4-3 and head to the Champions League final. So for today's episode, usually you guys know how the program goes. We start with a little buy or sell and then talk about the game. For today, given the excitement and the fact that we deserve to celebrate, we're going to kick off the episode with your reactions, your speak pipes, your questions, and make sure we get straight to what you guys thought about the game, and then we'll get into everything else. Gianni, you're up early. Let's hear it from you. Initial reaction to everything that occurred yesterday.
I mean, when I tell you, I don't know if my heart could take this team anymore. I don't know if I could survive another game like that. If you would have came to me and said, hey, 13 goals are going to be scored over two legs between Inter and Barcelona, who wins? I would have said, shit, 13? Probably not us if 13 are being scored. Going up 2-0 in the first half, thrilled. I was like, my goodness, I believe. Letting them score 2 in the second half, I was like, shit. Third goal happens. I'm like, it's over. Then when you see that ball play, first of all, what the hell is Acerbi doing up there in the box? Couldn't tell you. Don't care.
Divine intervention.
I mean, what?
God in his ear.
Yo, for real. And to see that ball hit the back of the net, the scream I let out in the office was insane. I mean, I can't even tell you the joy I was feeling. Running around, I jumped on our assistant coach's back and was just bear hugging him. I was so thrilled. Then we get the winner, and our sporting director, I'm not even kidding, came to me and said, Frattesi scoring the winner. Even, I think it was in the first half of the game, not even in the first half of extra time. He comes to me and says that. I was like, yeah, okay. When he does that little dummy or that fake shot and then curls it, I lost it. Ran up to him. I mean, this was the greatest game I've ever seen in my life. And we saw the Inter Sampdoria game, which might have been the most insane comeback. But this game, back and forth, Champions League semifinal. I mean, it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. I don't even know how else to put it. These guys. And one thing I don't know if did you see what Grella said? And maybe we'll probably get into that. Okay, I won't go into exactly what he said, but I wanted to be on that panel to be able to kind of rebuttal him with what he was saying. If you look at that game and you see a team united the way Inter are, the fight that they have, the way that they push together as one, they really do play as a unit. No doubt in the world. Listen, we saw the best of Yamal yesterday. We saw everything that guy is able to do the passing, the dribbling, the being able to handle himself in tight spaces, get out of groups of 2 or 3. Phenomenal player. But if the whole team doesn't play together, and I'm not saying they didn't all play, like Rafinha was great, but like, what was Gavi doing? Or was it, Gavi. Gavi's 8, right? Or is it
Gavi,
Pedri?
Pedri, I think.
Pedri's 8.
Yeah.
All right. See, I always get them confused because the numbers and nonsense. But anyway, Pedri went missing for big parts of that game. I mean, Lewandowski, I know he came in the second half, but he is, considered one of the greatest strikers of this generation. I didn't really notice him, minus the header that he missed in the second half there. So I just felt like we defended as one. We pushed forward as one. And I won't go, there's so much more I want to say because of what Grella said, but fine, I'll wait. Let's go to the speak pipes because I have so much I want to talk.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I definitely want to do today is, and we shouldn't be doing this, like we should just be celebrating a truly insane achievement, but we will discuss
Careful.
some of the detractors, and yeah, I'll save it for then. But let's go to you guys. Let's start off with the listener questions here. So the first one we'll have is from a person 1352. Is this the most topsy-turvy, up and down, wild, bipolar, and outright batshit season of Inter in our lifetime? Forza Inter sempre. Batshit crazy season of our lifetime.
I think the season 2 seasons ago that we got to the final was more topsy-turvy because we lost 12 games in the league and you just felt like, what is wrong with this team? Frustrated. But then you see how we performed in Europe. And granted, we had a much easier road to the final then than we did this season. But I would never have expected that team to get to the final. I actually believe this team could get to the final. So I don't know. I think because of the bipolarness I felt, and that's when we started this podcast, was when this team was like losing games in February, just fading further and further and further out of the Scudetto race.
First episode was the Benfica first leg.
I mean, dude, wow. We've come a long way. But that season I think was more topsy-turvy, I think, maybe. I don't know.
I'll buy into this being the most topsy-turvy. As far as like batshit insane of our lifetime, I don't know that I'd quite go there, just because we did have a significant banter era where some really insane shit happened. Like, I think, our club captain fighting with the fans and getting stripped of the armband by Spalletti because his wife went on talk radio to cry to the sporting director who had to call in. Like, for me, when I think of batshit insane, that is an insane thing for a top European club to be dealing with. But as far as the topsy-turvy, listen, this season has been defined by high expectations for Interisti after the second star last season, and then a performances that weren't necessarily the best throughout the season. A lot of criticism for players that came in that have not been performing. All while that was happening, Inter has been on a treble chase until, about a week and a half ago. Like, this thing, we've been competing on all fronts for the entirety of the season. So when you want to talk about topsy-turvy, it's like there's been a lot of upsetness with the team from Interisti, but we've been competing all the way through. And now, we find ourselves here with 3 games left in Serie A, 3 points back, and in the Champions League final. Like, the insanity, there's still story to be written. So, I think it's a good shout that this season has been, super topsy-turvy, and who knows how it's gonna play out. I think that PSG Arsenal final, it's going to be a very difficult game. I think PSG is going to go through. I think they're, the better team. I think they're going to be a really tough test for Inter. I think Luis Enrique is a fantastic manager. I think they have arguably the best midfield in Europe, and they have arguably the best, forward line in Europe. So let's see how that shakes out. Yeah, this team definitely has Team of Destiny vibes to it. Let's see who else is up here. Yes, that Andre. Which of the players' monstrous performances was your favorite tonight?
Sommer, not even a question for me. I was sitting there talking to, listen, I don't want to keep bringing up, but the sporting director for our club, and I said, we don't win this game. As much as I loved Andre Onana, we don't win this game if he was in net today. We don't. Well, first of all, that reaction goal where he recovered in the second half, it was, yes, that would have put them up. Where yes, Eric Garcia kind of shoots it at him. Still had to move there to make the save. Like, I don't care. Like, if you look at where he starts, he's up against the post. He has to literally fight back to get to the middle of the net. And then that save on that curler from Yamal. I mean, Uncle Sharma said it. It's right up there with the Julio Cesar save on Messi.
I think it's better.
Wow. Is it because of where we were in the game, or do you think it was more difficult, or
the context of the game? I think makes it better. When I think about that tie, Julio Cesar save is not the first thing that comes to mind, but when I think about this tie, that Sommer save is right up there. I think I almost think of it like the Acerbi 93rd, then the Sommer save, then the Frattesi 99th minute goal, of the moments that I think of.
I got it. Yeah. No, I think that's very fair. But yeah, Jan Sommer, such an unheralded signing. And there was some Interisti I remember, and I really wish I bookmarked all those tweets as well, because the hate that people had for that signing, and I said it then, I was like, listen, as a pure shot stopper, he is an upgrade on Andre Onana. Like, let's give him a chance. I don't know if he's as good with his feet as people were saying he was, which he has been good, I think. Not the same level of ball-playing ability that Onana has, but still been very serviceable. Much better than Handanovic ever was with his feet. But I've said he's the most underrated goalkeeper of this generation. I've said he's top 5, in my opinion, in the last 10 years. So to see him put in a performance like that literally, I mean, he won man of the match, and he literally won us the match. I don't know how anyone could. I mean, listen, you could throw it in. I'm not going to be upset, but I think the obvious choice is Jan Sommer.
I'll go different than you just to switch it up, but I do just want to say the last thing on Jan Sommer. Over the totality of these two legs, I also think like you have to put it up there for greatest goalkeeping performances in a tie of all time. Like, you know, we talked about this last time through, but that save on Yamal in the first leg when he sent Dimarco flying and he just got enough to push her on the post, it's like not being talked about enough. Truly spectacular.
For sure.
And then this one on Yamal, like Yamal might have nightmares of Jan Sommer for the rest of his life. And also, it seems like the nicest guy in the world, and it couldn't be happening to a better guy. So Jan is a great shout. I'll just go Dumfries, 5 goals and assists, 5 G+A over 2 legs in a Champions League semifinal from your right wing back. There's been interesting discussion of like, at what point do you start talking about Dumfries surpassing Hakimi?
It's right now. It's right now. Like, and look, that would have been something for me, impossible for me to admit even.
I agree.
2 months ago, to be honest. Look at where we got with Denzel. Look at what he's done against a Barcelona in a semifinal. We never even got to a quarterfinal with Hakimi, as much as I love him as a player. And Dumfries has done a complete 180 for me. Like, this was a guy I loathed and I did not want on this team anymore. And like I said last Champions League episode, I should say, this was a player I apologize to, and I feel like I still need to be apologizing to, because what he's done over these 2 legs, I think, like you said, allowed him to surpass Hakimi. And although he's not at Maicon's level yet, unfortunately, Nima, he has given me the Maicon vibes. So let's enjoy this, because I cannot express enough what this guy has done in changing my mindset on him. So hats off to him, and I think that's a great shout that you picked him.
Yeah, I do. Also, in baseball, they talk a lot about 5-tool players, right? Can you hit? Can you run? Can you field? And so forth. Do you have an arm? And do you have power? Whatever it might be. I think there are things that Hakimi does, tools that Hakimi has, that are better than what Dumfries brings to the table. But I think Dumfries might have the overall better skill set. If you think about the weapon that he is from set pieces, or even just at the back post, if you think about what he's become defensively and just the production, like I think every one of us can watch Hakimi run across the pitch all day, but it's not like Dumfries' numbers are any worse as far as the production is concerned. he may pick his spots and it may look different, but he's still producing. So I think it's, if you want to say that Dumfries has surpassed Hakimi, he's obviously had more time to be able to do it. But I don't necessarily disagree with that. And he's my shout here. Jerkbag jerk. Could Frattesi be considered Inter's Robert Horry? Overall career numbers, nothing to write home about. Some awful games, but huge goals when it matters most.
That is a great player comp. I don't know if I could think of another one. He has to win us 4 more league titles. Is that where we should go? Before I could say he's the Robert Horry, because Horry at least got all those championships, right? I think 4 more league titles. Or if we win this UCL, I think that equates to 4 league titles. So if we do that, sure. I'm good with going with the Robert Horry.
Yeah, I mean, every team needs to have their specialist, right? I think, for a while, this team has had Darmian as the specialist, as the Swiss Army knife that you can deploy in these different situations. Frattesi's specialty is coming up with huge goals when we need him. So I think that's a pretty good comp. Obviously, we've had our thoughts on Frattesi and his role in this team, but I tweeted it yesterday, like, these players can piss you off, but Taremi and Frattesi delivered when it mattered the most. And that's ultimately, like, at the end of the day, we have a podcast and we have to react every single week to these games. So I always am cautious about how much to rip into a player, not knowing what's going to come down the pipe. And it's moments like that where it's like, maybe should I be even more positive than I already am? But I don't think the interviews listeners want to hear that.
Well, can we talk about his post-match interview with Thierry Henry?
Yes.
So when he said, I was thinking if I don't score this, I'm fucked, one of my followers quote tweeted that and said that's because he's been reading Sauce GMP's tweets, and I lost it. I was pretty mad at him in the second half when he didn't take a shot when he was inside the box, when he had a little time and space. I was a little mad where he didn't lay the ball off quick enough. And then he comes up and scores that massive goal with a beautiful fake shot that really, I think it froze Inigo Martinez, who was...
Do you think that was intentional or that was a hesitation on his part?
I want to say it was intentional just because I rip on him enough that I want to think that, wow, he really did have the brains to do something like this. I don't know, though, but let's go with it was intentional.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like Frattesi to, be at his best when he's in the box, not in the middle of the pitch, but in the box. So yeah, let's go with intentional there. All right, let's get into your speak pipes. First one up, Ronald Pena.
Oh my God, guys. Baseball game to see the Dodgers in Miami. I saw the last 10 minutes driving in my car. I'm fucking crying. I'm fucking crying. What a team. What a fucking semifinal. What? Oh my God, sorry. I have to stop cursing because I'm not be able to put the audio. This is crazy. What a team. I cannot believe how every player put everything on the pitch today. Everything. Taremi was immense. Who's gonna believe that Taremi was gonna come true to us? He didn't score. We got a big assist. And he defended them and applied pressure like a beast. He took a lot of balls from Yamal. What again? And Frattesi, oh my God, Frattesi. He always does this. Oh my God, what a game. What a semifinal. What a team.
I just picture him in the car and like people see like driving past him and they're seeing him yell and like celebrate and the hand gestures and stuff. And they're like, what the heck is this wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My 2 takeaways there are like, one, I'm glad we're playing these the day after so we can still kind of feel that emotion in the immediate aftermath of like at a loss for words. All you have is like this fucking team. Like that's how it felt. Like there's no one being able to write like an eloquent soliloquy on fucking Twitter. It's like all you have is just this team, man. This team. And then the second thing, Ronald brought it up here. Let's talk about Taremi a little bit here. I thought he was outstanding. Truly, truly outstanding. And there's two things that Ronald brought up that I think really need to be talked about. One, of all of the people that came up against Yamal throughout this tie, Taremi might have defended him the best. And I don't like he's pretty good as a pressing forward, but he had the read on everything that Yamal wanted to do. I can't remember a single time that he dribbled past him. He stopped him several times. And then the wherewithal in the final third, I thought he was perfect. On a night, I want to make sure I'm saying this clearly. On a night where Inter gave the ball away a lot to Barcelona by trying to get too cute. There was several times with Barella. There was several times just in the back line playing out the back where they tried to get too cute and did not play the safe ball. Taremi, when he got the ball in the final third, especially late in the game, was never panicking. And even when he might have been able to, make that last pass, he held on to it a little bit to allow the team to reset the shape. And I thought he was perfect. I thought the layoff for Frattesi, was perfect. Instead of like dropping it to himself, controlling it and, looking around, making sure he had someone, he saw Frattesi, he let him have it. And he actually started backing up towards his left to pull the defender with him and give Frattesi a little bit more space. Really, 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 really happy for Taremi. I thought he was terrific.
I think we could say that Taremi is now the first box-to-box striker. New thing, awesome. He's it. I mean, wow. Like, that performance, I think, also erases the season that he's had, in my opinion, the way he came up for us. And you know what? Maybe he was more hurt than we initially thought, right? Maybe he really was dealing with something, because I don't think he would have done that even in January when we were hearing these rumors of, actually, I think it was more recent that the needing the muscle relax or the painkillers to be able to play. But what he did yesterday, like you said, locking up Lamine Yamal, he stripped him, I think, 3 times of the ball. Like perfectly placed tackles to get the ball up. I've never seen a striker be able to do stuff like that, really, like that I could recall, especially one dropping back essentially to a left back position. And even though Samuel Eto'o did that for us in the semifinal against Barcelona when it was needed after we lost, went down a man, I don't even think Eto'o did stuff like that. So, listen, hats off to Mehdi Taremi. Massive performance. And now it kind of I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment either, but it does kind of put you in a situation where it's like, okay, we're in the final. Do you throw on Taremi or Arnautovic, in late in the second half, if that's what you decide to do, if you're I feel like this game might be the type where Lautaro is going to want to be dead before you pull him off. But if you decide to, it puts you in a little bit more of a situation to have to consider both options.
Yeah, I think also not wanting to be a prisoner of the moment as well, Johnny, but I think it also gives a little bit more confidence to Interisti after seeing a performance like this, that maybe, like you said, we do throw away this season as just an injured season and start to look forward to what this could look like if he has a full season healthy. We're going to have a lot of commitments coming up. We have made a lot of money. I don't know how much spending we're actually going to get this summer. I think it's trending towards a good amount, but I don't think it's going to be a $100 million window. And Taremi could carve out a space for himself in this team. I could see a situation where up top we do go with Thuram, Lautaro, Taremi, and then maybe sign Jonathan David, and that'll be our 4, and that would be a pretty strong 4 if Taremi can keep this up. But yeah, we'll get into that discussion when it's closer to the end of the season. All right, next up, Casey.
Yo, this is Casey from Philly checking in again. The game literally just ended. You could probably hear Kate Scott in the background. I wanted y'all to get full instant reaction because my heart's about to pop, so I might not be alive for the final. But holy fuck. There's so much to talk about. I'll go as quick as I can. Start with the negatives. The officiating, fucking horrible. Should we talk about the fact that if Mkhitaryan's goal isn't called off in the first leg, we don't even go to extra time? All right, got that out of the way. That shit, first of all, Denzel Dumfries. I don't remember, I believe it was Porto 2 or 3 years ago in the Champions League. From the moment where he pants the defender, which I still have as one of my screen backgrounds on my phone, to now, he's become my favorite Inter player. I mean, what can you say about him? I mean, Francesco Acerbi, 6, 7, a striker's finish at the fucking dying embers. My God, we go to extra time. Johnny, you know I'm on your side, but we both got to say, Frattesi, dude, like you always say, I still want to see them succeed just because I don't think they're good players. Holy fuck, he scored that shit. Oh, my God. Faked them out with the pump, hit it, and then, I mean, Johnny. Take your fucking victory lap. Jan Sommer, I don't care that there was 13 goals in that. Man of the match, man of the tie, man of the Champions League to this point. We're on to the finals. Bring on Arsenal. I want Arsenal. Forza Inter, let's fucking go.
That was awesome.
Casey, your Philly is really coming out there.
Casey, I don't think you could have been more Philly than that there. That was awesome, though. Yeah, look, I said it about Frattesi. I do want to see him succeed, of course. I don't want to see anybody fail it. Like, I never want to see. We've all said it a million times. Nobody wants to see anybody fail at Inter. You could fail somewhere else, though, but not here. But, yeah, he was immense. I love the energy, man. Like, you were so excited. I think we were all, like, if we would have recorded yesterday right after the game, I think I would just be screaming this entire time. Like, just pure happiness, insane levels of excitement. And Jan Sommer, I don't think we could say enough about him, but I also don't know if I have enough adjectives to use to describe him. So I just love that guy. I think I need to get a Sommer kit. I really do.
That would be a fire kit.
That orange one, right? Wouldn't that be sick?
I need to get Sommer's hair. That's what I need.
Where do we get that?
Those plugs. Yeah. All right. He did bring up a point that we have to discuss at some point in the pod. Do you think that we can discuss it now without completely derailing the episode?
Let's give it a shot.
Okay. All right. This referee, Marciniak, coming into the game, I think Interisti were pretty nervous. We have not performed super well with Marciniak as the referee.
No, we have not.
Barca fans nervous. They believe that he's a Real Madrid fan.
Isn't
and
that
he's favored them. Yes, I mean, of course, coming from that fan base. So let's talk about the major decisions. We'll go through them one by one. We'll start with, first of all, give me your overall thoughts on how he, not taking out all the big decisions, just how he reffed the game. I'm talking about like the ticky-tack fouls and stuff like that. What was your impression of how he handled that?
To be honest, I thought he did a pretty fair job for the most part. I mean, there were some instances, of course, where I got mad, where I wanted a foul called and it wasn't, but I think that happens in every game. I don't think it really matters who's refereeing. But I think he was pretty balanced. Like, you think about other referees who have been clearly biased against us or gone against us, especially this season in Serie A. I don't think that he did anything that was insanely egregious. And even when he was wrong, specifically on the penalty the first time, like, you know, I mean, obviously, we get, and then the call on the foul that Mkhitaryan committed on Yamal, to be able to go and get that right and not call it as a penalty and then just as a foul outside the box. That's huge. I think in the past, you know, some may have been a little stubborn or stuck in their ways and wanted to stick with their initial call and not want to be corrected. But I think that he, you know, did a pretty fair job. And I really can't complain too much. I'm sure there's a few things that if I really went back and watched it again, that I'd be like, yeah, that was like really messed up. I would be able to, but again, that would be like just really nitpicking or seeking out those.
There's one in particular that I think Inter got screwed on, but let's talk about these incidents one by one.
Now I want to know. I don't remember which one, but all right.
You'll remember it immediately as soon as I say. The Acerbi handball in the box off his thigh up into his hand. That's not a penalty. I don't know what other argument you could possibly make. I don't even think
like the last angle they showed there, actually, it goes off his thigh, and to me, it hits up here. Like, I don't even think it hits his hand. And maybe I'm being stupid and not wanting to see something, but I didn't see it actually. And even the people I'm watching it with who were not Inter fans didn't think it was a handball. So,
yeah, and there's also images being shared across social media today that have nothing to do with that. So I think everyone is pretty much on the same page that you know was called the right way. The second incident, the penalty given, Cubarsí gets none of the ball and all of Lautaro's foot. It was smart by Lautaro to get his foot in between the ball and Cubarsí. Arsene Wenger says that that's never a penalty. Marciniak initially didn't call it, which in live time it does look like he got the ball cleanly, but in reality, the only one that pushed the ball away was Lautaro's foot because he was being clattered into by Cubarsí. It's a stonewall penalty for me, but I also feel like I can't go forward in this episode without giving you an opportunity to respond to a serial loser in Europe, Mr. Arsene Wenger, who I have great respect for, but I thought that was a really stupid comment to be making.
Yeah, it was a very stupid comment. Like, I guarantee if that same instance happens for his Arsenal and Thierry Henry was taken down in the box, he would have been screaming and running up and down the sidelines and pleading bloody murder that he didn't get that call. It is a foul. Like, are you kidding me? I knew it instantly that he did not get the ball and that he did go through Lautaro in that instance. Like, if we didn't get that call, I would have lost my mind there, of course. I'm glad they did go to VAR, and literally he took 3 seconds, saw it right away, and was like, that's a penalty, and came back and got the call right. And we were rightfully awarded that. It's a stonewall penalty. He's going through him to try to get to the ball. I understand that. But if you're taking out the man and not actually making any contact with the ball, it's a penalty. If he goes to the front and actually gets the ball and hits it across, and then his follow-through gets it, not a pen at all, right? And we would all be here like, oh, whatever, opportunity. I'll give Cubarsí some credit. It was inches away from being a good tackle, but at the end of the day, it wasn't. And this guy, I think he's got a personal vendetta against Inter. And in my opinion, the only loss he had the season of the Invincibles, well, I'm sorry, the first loss he had the season of the Invincibles was when we went to Highbury and beat them at their stadium. Now, we ended up losing the tie to them overall, but we did beat them. I don't know if he has a problem with that or if that really upset him. I don't know. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things when you think about the Invincibles because they were talking about specifically just the league. But I guess because it was his first loss, he kind of doesn't like them. I know there was a lot of shit housing in that game as well by us. So, maybe he just has a bad taste in his mouth and he's got an affinity for Barcelona for whatever reason. I don't know. But Arsene Wenger, nobody bottled the games and bottled leads like he did. So I guess he felt sorry for Barcelona for essentially bottling this tie when a lot of people didn't give us a chance in hell.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people have these goggles on of like, Barca plays this beautiful football and they deserve to go through. And yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that after. All right, the Yamal penalty given and then rescinded on a foul by Mkhitaryan. I mean, it's clearly outside the box. There's not, again, I don't think that there's much to talk about outside of like, do you think Mickey was on a yellow card? Do you think Mickey should have been red carded there? Here's the deal. For me, in that instance, like usually I think I'd give the player a yellow card for that challenge. But you should really stop complaining about him deserving a red card in that moment when at the end of the first half, your player, Inigo Martinez, continued to stay on the pitch after spitting at Acerbi. And he admitted it today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fuck. How did I forget that? Okay. Yeah. Are we going to get into that right now? Or are we going to keep talking about that piece of shit? I'm glad he didn't. But I also wish that Acerbi would have strangled him to death and taken his life away. Because then we could have just played with 10 men on each side, right? Don't get that in that instant. And I remember watching, it was right at the end of the first half. And I remember seeing it and I'm like, what the hell is Acerbi so upset about? Like, what is going on here? They didn't show it then. I found it on Twitter. And I'm like showing everybody like, oh, how does he get away with that? How does he get away with that? I don't know. You can't go to VAR for something like that, right? Like that's not, I'm assuming that's not that.
I would assume that you can't because I don't know how anyone could watch those images and not give, I mean, that should be an 8-match suspension for future Champions League matches for him. Like, when has that ever been okay?
I would not disagree with you there. Like, I would love to see him get an insane suspension for that. Inigo, you're a scrub, bro. You are an absolute scrub, and you're spitting on someone because what? A penalty was scored, and what? He may have said something that offended you or upset you or so. Bro, I've had instances where people have said stuff that I didn't like or I didn't want to hear, and my initial instinct is never to go up to them and spit on them. Like, just never. To me, there's nothing more disrespectful than spitting on someone.
You're a professional playing the most important game of the season in a crowd of 70,000 people, and like that, your instinct is to spit on someone. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I glad that didn't cost us or anything, or his presence on the pitch didn't affect the outcome in some way, like where he scored the winner or something like that. But I hope that we do institute some type of, like, let's say we didn't see it, right? The ref doesn't see it, but then they go to the lockers at halftime. I kind of wish that there could be almost like a, hey, we found this out after the fact. You're out. Like, come out in the second half. We show him a red card. And I feel like that should be for anyone. If you spit, I don't care. Like, if it had been the other way around, I tried to be spitting on Martinez. As much as I loved his performance, and I'm not saying obviously he didn't do anything like that, but I would say, yeah, it's deserving of a red card. I don't care who you play for. There's no need ever to spit on a player. Period.
If my player had gotten away with that, I would be real quiet on social media about all these other images you want to share the next day. Like,
Yep.
I mean, completely got away with that.
Yeah.
Completely got away with that. All right, let's talk about this one is the most ridiculous one for me, from all these Barcelona fans sharing an image and even they're sharing video of on Acerbi's goal, Martin kicking through the back of Dumfries' leg twice and then throwing himself on the floor and saying, this is egregious, like, we were absolutely robbed. What are you watching? And we're not going to show the image because we don't want to get our video taken down. But the ball is moving away from both players. Dumfries' leg is in front of Gerard Martin. And Gerard is following through towards the ball. He kicks through the back of Dumfries' leg. What foul is being done against Martin? Twice he does it. How do you kick through the back of someone's leg and then you fall forward? What are you talking about? It's the most ridiculous, and they're sharing this as if some sort of gotcha. The only gotcha is everyone else seeing that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That you don't know football. In what world you kick through the back of another player's leg and then fall forward? He's literally leaning back, kicks through Dumfries' legs, and then falls forward. And they're showing this image as some sort of gotcha. What?
This is why
he does it twice.
This is exactly why I think the entire footballing world come together. It's because of how dumb Barcelona fans are and how blind they are to their own BS. Like, if it was the other way around and Dumfries was doing that to, let's say, Martin, right? I would be on here screaming at how disgusting of a player he was. And how, like, I just don't want to see that ever at my club, that level of shithousery. If you're a fan and you cannot see that objectively, right? You cannot see, like, the level of stupidity that you're cranking it up to be able to justify or defend your need or want for a foul, I think you're insane. I think you're absolutely insane, and you need to seek help. But that's really what all Barcelona fans are. And it's funny to me because I want to get into this too real quick. The amount of tweets that I bookmarked, Alessandro, I'm not kidding. It had to be 50 to 60 tweets that I bookmarked from them talking shit. And I was saving the receipts because I was going to come after them. I was so confident that we were going to be able to pull this off. I wanted to go after, and I'm not going to say names of these fans. I won't. But I could tell you off camera, one thing that stood out to me with the way that they were speaking to me, and I wanted to let them have it. And the fact that those gutless people deleted all of their tweets so that I had none bookmarked you are the biggest losers if that's the way you go and handle this, that you just decide, let me be my keyboard warrior and get rid of all the evidence so that I don't get burned. Man, you scared me. I thought something happened to my feed when you pulled this up.
No. I have to show it.
All right,
Keep going.
You know what's going to happen here. This could be strike 2, but yeah.
I just have to, look at this. It was indeed a foul by Dumfries because he clearly stamped on Gerard Martin. Dumfries is falling away from the ball. Martin is going forward and kicks through the back of his foot. What are you talking about, stamp or trip? Dumfries is falling towards the side. Martin is going forward through Dumfries' leg, and then he throws himself forward on the ground. What are you talking about? Moving forward, kicks through the back of the player's leg. Dumfries is trying to shield it, not a stamp or a trip. And then, come on, show the full action. And then falls. You're a professional he clips him a second time and throws himself on the ground. You're ridiculous.
Yeah.
You are ridiculous. If that is what you want to see, from football, you want the sport to die. If that's ever a foul. I'm sorry, Johnny.
No. You're good, man. It's ridiculous. I don't think it could have happened. Not that anything bad. I don't think beating a team feels better than when you beat Barcelona because they are such babies that they think the whole world is out to get them, but they refuse to recognize the times where they've been awarded victories and gotten away with such amounts of BS. I think of the Chelsea tie. I think of the PSG tie. When you're down 5 goals going into the second leg and you get every call in your favor, offside's not called against you multiple times, but the poor officiating only happens against you. It never happens for you. Like, just shut up.
I would feel tremendous shame and embarrassment if I was sharing a video that clearly shows that if there's a foul that takes place there, it's on Dumfries. It's a foul against Barcelona for kicking through the back of another player's leg. And then watching him fall over like that, how could that challenge possibly result in you falling forward? How could that challenge possibly result in you falling forward? And they're sharing it like some sort of gotcha. It's embarrassing behavior. Truly embarrassing behavior. And it invalidates all of the Barca was a better team, whatever. You were seeking something. And it's the same thing with the Yamal penalty too. Like the Yamal penalty shout. He goes down under his own accord. And you're sharing it like you got robbed. Never. Okay? Let's talk about an actual robbery. End of the first half of extra time. Bastoni plays in Barella clear as day with all the time in the world. And granted, I'll admit, I don't know the protocol perfectly on, if the watch goes, it's over. But how the ball, it's active play where the guy is on his own. How you call half that's an actual robbery. And if it was the other way around, the conversation on this app would be legitimately invest Marciniak for match fixing. You have the balls to share a foul, a non-existent foul, but you don't share a clear as day open play that the ref just completely took it away by calling for half. That's robbery. That's robbery for me.
The only thing I could think of is that he got a signal from the sideline ref that it was offside, and he just decided to end it since it was offside. That's the only thing. They didn't show any angle. I don't know if it was. I think he was clean on, but that's the only thing I could think of is that he was just called offside, and they just called it right there. Now, you do see the way the players react, that maybe they didn't get an explanation, but it looks like when Bastoni goes over to Marciniak that he does get that, or he gets told something. I don't know. But that's the only thing I could think of.
All right, you heard it here about the referees. Let's get back into the excitement here. Gino Panino.
Unbelievable tie, unbelievable match. Pazza Inter, powerhouse. Inter Milan has arrived in superiority. Fantastic fight and heart and spirit from the fans to the players to the Inzaghi himself. Couldn't be more proud to be an Inter fan. Over and over, they cease to amaze us. Yeah, there's letdowns, but we still show our true colors more and more. Put respect back on Italian soccer. For years, it's always been Inter leading the way. Forza Inter, Pazza Inter, Andiamo a Munich. Let's go, boys. We got this.
You know, there's been a lot of praise for the players, and we've been talking about this a lot. But the other thing that I kept going back to was, if what Napoli is doing in Serie A is a miracle, then what do you call what Inzaghi is doing in Europe with Inter? 2 Champions League finals in 3 years without a dime spent.
Yep. I mean, what this man doesn't get the respect he deserves. I think not just from Serie A fans, I think from just world footballing fans. He has no budget. No budget. And you know what? Like, I got to say this because it was driving me crazy yesterday. Lex from the AJC constantly wanting to turn the narrative that it's Pepe Marotta who's doing. If Pepe Marotta put, I don't know, I can't even like, Conceição in charge after Conte left, right? Do we have 2 Champions League finals appearances? Let's be honest, probably not. Do you think he would have put up with the fact that he's been not given any money to invest in the squad? Do you think he would have been okay with losing his best players year after year, having to give up, you know, Brozovic, Lukaku, Hakimi, Onana? Like, do you think he would have been cool with, not that he probably wouldn't even had Onana, to be honest, because he doesn't play that style. He would have lost his mind. Inzaghi, I have to give him credit, has been the good soldier, right? He's accepted it. He doesn't complain in the media. He doesn't lose his mind. He has every right to. I would not be. Sometimes I wish he would throw a little bit of a. I'm not saying like Conte level tantrums, but a little bit of a. You know, how do you expect me to continue to win when you keep just taking stuff away from me? I think it's nothing short of incredible what he's been able to do. I think that if you gave him the same type of war chest that Pep Guardiola has been giving time after time, that he would win trebles. And I'm not just saying that, you know, ironically or even to kind of get a ha-ha from anyone. I think it's really possible. The man can compete on multiple fronts. You know, Nima said that the greatest Italian league manager is Antonio Conte if he wins this title. I think that Simone Inzaghi, if he had any money invested into this squad, would go down as not just the greatest Italian league manager, but possibly the greatest Italian manager of all time, who I think right now is Carlo Ancelotti. Personally, the man has won in every top 5 league. He's won the title. He's won multiple Champions League titles. Phenomenal player. But I think that if you were able to have, like, look, Ancelotti did it at Chelsea when they were spending money like crazy. Bayern Munich when they were spending money like crazy. PSG when they were spending money like crazy. Real Madrid and AC Milan. Right? All teams that in their day were the best team in that league. No question. Inzaghi is doing it with, all right, maybe the best team in Serie A, which isn't saying much because if you look at the state of the league, it's not anything special. He's doing it without money being spent, and he's doing it on multiple fronts. We've won multiple Coppa Italias. We've won a Scudetto, multiple Super Copas. We've gotten to now our second Champions League final. We probably should have won the first one had it not been for just, you know, a absolute lemon of a striker ruining any chance of us winning that game in Romelu Lukaku. Now we don't have that issue. Thuram's playing unbelievably. Lautaro is motivated like never before. And we have such a team mentality that I think if he's able to pull this off and we win this, it's probably a little premature, but I think that he'll be on trajectory to go down as one of the, if not the best Italian managers, because he's done it with so little.
This is not getting to Champions League finals as a Serie A team that Serie A can't compete financially with the other leagues. The infrastructure is crumbling. The league is so difficult to compete in week in and week out because of how tactically adept all of these, you know, all these managers are. It's not like the Premier League where it's, you know, just back and forth. Like you actually have to game plan and break down teams. to get to 2 Champions League finals. We're not Real Madrid that we're signing Kylian Mbappe for free. Okay? It's a monumental achievement. The difficulty to go through the Champions League is incredible. Incredible. We just went through Bayern and Barcelona, the league leaders, the winners of the Bundesliga this year, and the current leaders in La Liga this year. Back to back. It is hard to believe what he's doing, and it's not getting close to, the level of play that it should on the airwaves. Anyone talking about anything other than that is shouldn't be in football, in my opinion. You're not recognizing how difficult it is to pull off what he's pulling off.
We are one game away from another Champions League win, boys. I have no words. I'm so excited. I'm so confused. Where did these performances come from? And, we look head down and defeated, and yet we pull another magical rabbit out of the hat. Inter really is our name, boys, but my God, we're there. We're in the final. I can't believe it. I'm shocked. I can't believe it. Love you guys. Take care.
Very pissed off Inter fan. Sounded very emotional Inter fan. And yeah, I get it. There's got to be revenge on these guys' minds, no? Outplaying Manchester City 2 years ago, and now heading into, PSG or Arsenal in
crazy?
Munich, which, yeah.
Am I crazy to want Arsenal?
You're not crazy to want Arsenal. I definitely do want to see what that game looks like when we actually start our A team.
That's what I want. Like, we beat them with the B team. Now, if we start our actual starting 11, what happens then?
Do you think that there's any advantage mentally from us
100%.
having made a trip to Munich and won in Munich this year? We have a 1-0 win. Was it 1-0?
No, it was 2-1. It was 2-1.
It was 2-1. Sorry. In Munich. We're heading back there after having already experienced an emotion. I wonder if that factors in at all.
I think it does. I don't see why it wouldn't. I think that you're already familiar with the grounds, right? You're already familiar with what the atmosphere could potentially be like, and now you're going to have a larger contingent of your fan base with you. I think that gives you such motivation to pull through this time. And I think it's because Donnarumma is the goalie, I don't really prefer to play PSG because we know that he can steal a game for a club. I mean, look at what he did in the first leg against Arsenal, really.
Yeah.
I do feel confident, though, with our chances against either one of these clubs. I think PSG would be more of a challenge, but I do think that we would be able to come through. And I think that having the added motivation to redeem yourselves after the final from 2 years ago, I think you have about 70% of the same team from that game in this game could be massive for us. And I think that there's not going to be a more united and motivated group of players than this Inter squad that's going into the final.
Sommer played a whole season in Munich. Pavard played several seasons in Munich if he's able to make it there.
It was only a half season.
It might have been a half season.
Yeah, he was signed in January because Neuer got hurt. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, so there's some experience there. Inter's last Champions League win came against Bayern Munich. So there's
in Spain, and then we beat a team from Spain to get back to all the eggs.
All the eggs. All right, last one here from Sartak.
Hey, Interisti. It's Sartak here. And oh my God, we're back to the final. And wow, what a game. I mean, I'll say definitely almost everyone played their part in this tie. Even Taremi, we've been on for all season. You saw how he was pressing. He didn't look as afraid to me. And then, of course, Frattesi coming in with that goal, with the game-winning goal. And we've known that he's the first goal scored. But I was just going to get your opinion about the Scudetto race. If we are still in a position where we can still compete for the Scudetto, either 3 points behind, I think it would be 1 point behind, or tied on the last match day against Como, would you play the strongest 11 with Barella, Hakan, etc., or would you still want to rotate? And as the Champions League final is only 6 days after, with that, I'm out.
Oh, it's an interesting thought. 6 days is, an eternity these days as far as rest is concerned. I've been saying since the start, like the Champions League is the one that I want this year.
Mhm.
I also believe that they can get it done with rotating some of their players. So, like this upcoming weekend against Torino, like I would give them some of the players who played, these huge minutes.
Yeah, Thuram.
I would almost, yeah. I think I would almost start
Acerbi.
the same exact thing against Verona that we did against Verona.
100%. It's not even a question. I would even give Sommer the day off, to be honest, because it's like, dude, you were so immense for us in that matchup yesterday that I think you deserve the rest. I think you deserve a break to not have to listen, Joseph Martinez is an extremely serviceable goalkeeper. It's not like he's some scrub, it's not Audero that we're throwing out there. So yeah, I'm all for him doing heavy rotation in this matchup. Listen, I don't want to say we're conceding the title, but I do think that, that matchup against Roma kind of really ended things in a sense. And to put all that energy into that matchup pursuing the Scudetto and not really focusing on the UCL would have been a mistake. And now that you see, like, this team showed up in the big moments, and I think they recognize that, how much of a massive letdown it was in a lot of aspects. Listen, as much as I would love to win both, right? I think every Interisti would agree that it would be nice to have the 21st title and UCL. The big years is where it's at right now. We need to have that be the main focus.
Yeah. Going 20th Scudetto and then number 4 in back-to-back years would be insane. I would rather that over 20 and 21. I would take 20 and 4.
Agreed.
All right. Let's talk about some player performances. We have to talk about Lautaro. Lautaro, supposed to be out 15 days, returns in 6 days, said he couldn't move his leg for 2 days after the Barcelona match. Was crying that he wasn't going to be able to make it. Ended up wrapping it up, taking some painkillers, and then being on the pitch for 71 minutes. Scores a goal, wins the penalty. It was very clear that he was hobbled. Like, I don't think that we can dance around that. Like, he didn't particularly play that well, but he came up decisive when we needed him the most. He is the captain of this team. For him to make the effort to get onto the pitch, I think can't be understated. And at this point, like in our lifetimes, Johnny, Javier Zanetti is still going to be one. But is Lautaro the second best captain of our lifetime? Handanovic, Icardi.
Don't ever mention Icardi again, please. He's not even worthy. He was never worthy of wearing the armband. But yeah, no, he is the second best captain of our lifetime. And if he wins us this UCL, it makes it even closer to him catching up. Zanetti's going to win on the appearances. He was just the ultimate gentleman, probably in footballing. You never hear anyone say a bad thing about Javier Zanetti. If we get this one with Lautaro, man, I don't even know what I'll think. But he's been an actual leader as well. I think he's been able to galvanize his teammates, and he's come up big for us in big moments. Really, look at that goal he scored. But the way that Eric Garcia shot it at Sommer, it could have been the same thing where he puts it right at Chesney, right? But he did pick his spot. He was cool, calm, and collected, and had a perfect finish to give us the 1-0 lead in the tie yesterday. I can't say enough good things about Lautaro as well. I love the guy, and I hope that he is able to carry us onward, and we could see him be the guy, like, having that iconic moment the same way Javier Zanetti did, where he just picks up the trophy and puts it over his head. That would be the dream, for me at least,
Yeah, more than deserved for a player that's already, scored as many goals as he has. And to put in the effort to get on the pitch yesterday was, we're lucky to have this person as our captain. All right, Thuram, incredible, mazy run in order to score Inter's fourth. I thought he put forth a huge effort. 120 minutes on the pitch is huge. Any comments about Thuram's performance?
I thought the composure he had on the goal for Frattesi, the way that he was able to dribble out of that be calm, not do anything that led to. I'm glad he also didn't seek the foul and just go down in the box, because I mean, listen, we've seen where he doesn't get those calls. He also does tend to throw himself, but I think that he played that perfectly to be able to get that to Taremi, and then Taremi lays it off for Frattesi. He did all the work, really. He really did. All Taremi did was the one touch, which, yeah, it was perfect. Thuram, to have that level of energy still going at 100 minutes, that's insane. And I thought that he worked so well for the squad, always running, did really good in the hold-up play. I can't think of a single player who I'm like, wow, that was a bad performance. Well, I mean, maybe Barella didn't have his best game, but I mean, just incredible. I love Thuram. Look, with a few things, I want to see this team return for next season for the most part, right? So they call him Son of Lillian, but I think he's carving out a name for himself at this point.
Yeah, I think Marotta's one of his top priorities is going to be to get rid of that release clause in his contract. That's got to be, up there. And the partnership with Lautaro, like, you feel like it's just getting started. So you want to see that, for years to come. Let's talk about Barella a little bit. I don't think that this was his best game in an Inter shirt. I think 120 minutes on the pitch, he gave it his all, positional changes, driving this team forward, but especially in the first half, way too many of those giveaways. What's your Nicolo take from yesterday?
Yeah, I think that at times he was trying to do a little too much. I think that he was trying to make magic, and it just didn't work out yesterday for some reason. A little disappointing, but you look at the work rate. You look at the effort that he put in, always tracking back. Even when you could tell he was dead tired in the second half of extra time, the man was still giving it all out there, trying to just help push this team across the finish line. How many people can do that, even when they don't play their best? How many people still give maximum effort when they're not at their best? Yes, there was things that frustrated me with his game. I think that he took too many touches sometimes and tried to dribble himself out of trouble and turn the ball over in unfortunate situations and places on the pitch. But Barella is my favorite player, and he always will be. I think that this is just an anomaly. I don't think this is the norm, of course. The same way you could be forgiving for Taremi having bad performances and then coming back having a huge one. I think we'll see that, Barella will probably put in his best performance now in the final, for all we know. So unfortunate, but if 1 out of your 11 is the negative, I could live with that.
Hakan and Mickey, 79 minutes for each of them. Hakan scores the penalty, but also picks up a yellow card. Mkhitaryan all over the pitch. Maybe not as good as his first leg performance, but both of the guys put in some shifts today. I didn't think that they were at their best either. This midfield really needs to be in shape for either midfield that they come up against in the Champions League final. I do have all the confidence in the world, but not the best game across those three. I was pretty nervous when Zielinski and Frattesi were put in, especially with Zielinski at that regista position. Definitely different than Hakan, but obviously all four of those players did their part here. Dimarco laid it off for Dumfries in order to score the first goal, so I thought he did his part defensively against Yamal. It wasn't any surprise, but to be frank, Carlos Augusto didn't come in and do any better. So all the armchair experts, including myself, that said Augusto needed to play. I mean, ultimately, you're coming up against the best in the world. So let Inzaghi cook, I guess, is the right way to go about that. Bisek for Darmian, that was also a substitution that I wasn't quite sure about, especially the threat that Bisek would be able to provide from set pieces. Also, Darmian didn't necessarily do his best as far as the Rafinha goal either.
But what
do you have
I don't know. I don't think it was that bad of a call there, and I think it's being a little harsh on him on the Rafinha goal. Like I also don't blame Dumfries, but you do see in the replay on the rebound that Dumfries it's almost like he doesn't expect the ball to go right back to Rafinha. He also doesn't challenge. So, like, you could point blame at both guys. It is what it is. I think that was just an unfortunate instance, really. Like, it just happened to be, Sommer makes the save and it goes right back to Rafinha and he's able to put it in. And it easily also could have been a touch by, I think it was Ferran
at the back post.
On the back post.
Yeah.
If he, or Fermin Lopez, whoever it was one of the two. If they touch that, it's offside anyway, right? Like, so, I think obviously the person who was there was smart enough not to touch it. But yeah, Acerbi could have maybe put a foot there as well, like you were about to say. There were so many different variables that could have happened there. So, and I think Defensively, I thought Darmian did better than Bisek personally. There was a few instances where Bisek tried to dribble out of the back where he got stripped, and I flipped out because it was terrible turnovers. So I don't think you were going to get those types of mistakes from Darmian. I mean, listen, we keep saying it. He is like our Swiss Army knife, and he is better as a center back than he is as a right wing back. So, yeah, you can put a little bit of a blame on him on that Rafinha goal, but I also think it's a little harsh too.
Yep. Acerbi, first goal in Europe in the 93rd minute to send us into extra time. He was immense. Defensively was almost perfect. You could say the same thing for Bastoni as well. I think Bastoni going forward probably didn't have that window open enough that he wanted in order to send the ball over the top to Barella. Inter was called offside like 40 times. So that high line as far as the offside, it worked for a good amount of the game, but not when it mattered the most. But I thought he was great. Anything to say about Basto or Acerbi?
Listen, Acerbi has been insanely important to us. He pocketed Haaland in the final 2 years ago, a player I wasn't excited to have. I'll be honest. I did when we brought him in, I was not too pumped, mostly because I was probably, blaming him for us losing the Scudetto 2 years prior, or the year prior, I should say, than when he joined. To come up and be in that box and to have that touch in it and finish the way he did, roof of the net, nobody saving that. At the time he was scored, I mean, that is insane. It's such a beautiful ball that he was able to get around on and score for us. Defensively, like you said, immense. I don't think he got a challenge wrong. I don't think he put a foot wrong.
That first half sliding tackle on Lamine in the penalty box was pitch perfect.
Chef's kiss right there, yeah. Bastoni as well. I mean, the level, this is what I wanted to see from him. This jump defensively. We knew what he could do offensively, and he has done it. In my opinion, he is the best defender in the world. I don't think there's anyone who can do what he does on the ball. The work off the ball is unbelievable. He, to me, deserves to be. I know it's just transfer market, but he is valued as the most valuable center back in the world right now. But I think he needs to be recognized as the best center back in the world now. And I don't want anyone to come in with any offers, but I want him to be recognized as it. And I think we are so fortunate to have 2, if not 3, world-class players on our team. If you really want to include Dimarco. It's insane just what we're able to do. I wish the Italian national team was better for the amount of really good players we have. For whatever reason, we can't seem to get it together as a nation. But to have them playing for Inter, performing the way they do week in and week out, and seeing this level of talent, it's such a blessing, really, to be a fan of this club at this time right now. Because if you look, really, in 2010, we didn't have any Italians in the starting 11. I don't even think we only had Materazzi off the bench and Toldo, who was the backup goalkeeper. Now we have absolute vital Italians in the starting 11, and it's awesome to see.
Balotelli on the bench too.
Oh yeah, Balotelli on the bench. But thrilled with these guys.
Stefan de Vrij, special shout out, who was all over whatever deliveries Barcelona was putting into the box. A crucial save there at the end too. Ball came into Araujo and he just put his body in between it. Ended up getting fouled. He's huge. Just throw him out. If a team is looking to throw the ball into the box, throw Stefan de Vrij on and let him work. One of the best defenders in the world when it comes to defending stuff like
100%.
that. All right, I want to talk about the last thing here just to wrap up. Grella's comments on CBS as well as some of the Tacticos on Twitter. I basically just want to talk about deserved, right? Did Barca deserve to go through over their play over 2 legs? And when we talk about deserved, Inter is in the Champions League final for the second time in 3 years. They had to beat the league leaders in 2 different top 5 leagues in order to make it into the Champions League final this year. They won over 2 legs against the team that is the highest scoring in Europe, 7-6. When you talk about deserved, do you deserve to go to a final if you decide to come up against Barcelona and say, "Oh, we'll play a high line. Yeah, we'll try to match what they do"? Is that your definition of deserved? Is it not deserved to come up against the best attack in the world and to be able to do what they did in shutting down the best player in the world for as much as you can shut him down. Does Sommer not deserve to go to a Champions League final with all those incredible saves that he made? Does Inter not deserve to go to the Champions League final if they had 35-40% possession and were able to score 7 goals? Do they not deserve a Champions League final when they were the tougher team and put away goals on the set pieces? Is this Inter side who is constantly criticized? Constantly. Other teams being talked about being a miracle side, when in reality, the miracle is being performed by these players. Don't talk to me about deserved or who played better over the 2 legs. Fuck you. Inter deserve to go through. Inter deserve to go through. They came up against the scariest team in world football, and they did what they did in order to get through. That is what football is about. This is not the possession league. This is not the balance sheet league. This is the Champions League. And Inter showed that they are champions. Champions. Period. I think it's disgusting to talk about whether or not this Inter team deserved to go to the Champions League final after taking Bayern and Barcelona over 4 games, taking them out. Miss me with that. Miss me with that. No team deserves to be in the Champions League final more than Inter does. No team has been up against the wall with everything they've had to deal with as Inter does. All credit should be going to those players on the pitch who fought their fucking asses off. 2-time cancer survivor Acerbi with the goal in the 93rd minute. Lautaro fighting off injury. Dumfries fighting off injury. Thuram fighting off injury. Do not talk about deserved. That's all I have to say.
Sit there and complain about scoring a goal on 2 passes. One was a brilliant pass by Dimarco that split the defense that freed Dumfries. And then another great pass from Dumfries to an open Lautaro. You're going to say that's not pretty football? You're going to sit here and say because, Rafinha scored a goal off the post that went off of Sommer's back and in the goal, like that's prettier, that's more deserving. That's what's more impressive to you? You know what's impressive to me? You score 4 goals and you have 31% possession. That's impressive. That's actually more difficult. It's easy to score goals when you have the ball. I think it's harder to score goals when you don't have possession. Roma beat us 1-0 on a ball that bounced around in the box, and they had 25% possession in that game. We dominated them. That's not pretty. That's luck. We scored 4 freaking goals. We had literally 60 seconds to score a goal, and we were able to win it. The ball at the outside their 18. Dumfries makes a great play into the box, or to the edge of the box, I should say. Gets it in there to Acerbi, who, as a center back, has a striker's finish to equalize late in the game. Then Thuram out-dribbles 2 defenders, passes through 2 to find a Taremi, who lays it off beautifully for Frattesi, who dummies and scores a beautiful curler. And that's not deserving. No. What Barcelona did, because they had the ball and they crossed it back and forth and passed outside the box, that's beautiful football to you. Grella, shut the hell up, bro. You are an MLS player who was a bench player at best, who played at Glen Cove High School in Long Island. Like, shut up, dude. You came at me one time and said, oh, how many Serie A games have you played? I told you the same amount that you've played. And you're going to sit here and criticize Inter, who did what they had to do to defeat arguably one of the best teams in the world right now, who had to lock down the best player in the world. And you're upset because the team that had more possession essentially didn't get to the final. You're going to say that Inter they scored 7 goals over 2 legs. If you thought that they were better, they should have stopped us. If you have the ball 70% of the time, you should stop the other team from scoring. They couldn't even do that. Such a shit take from an absolute idiot of a person. And people are going to be like, oh, yep, Grella's right. There are people who are going to come on and defend him. Thank God Interisti saw that and they went after him. And I'm sure he is never going to answer because, even he might think now, like, that was a pretty dumb take. And hopefully he's recognized that. I don't even know if he has. But we were the better team over 2 legs, and we showed it. Why? Because we won, and we got to the final.
Yeah.
Easy.
Like, it's coincidence that this team is in 2 finals in 3 years. That's just a lucky coincidence. The luck of the bounce went our way.
Yeah.
Have you watched this team? Have you watched this team and what we've had to deal with for years? They deserve all of the praise. They deserve all of the praise. Stop praising a Barcelona that couldn't make an adjustment. They couldn't make an adjustment. Go watch the NBA. Go watch the NBA. If that's all you want to see. Threes from the logo over and over and over again. No. Give me the bruising inside the box play. It's not difficult to play a high line. It's not difficult. It is difficult to come up against Yamal, Rafinha, Frankie de Jong, Pedri. That's difficult. And that's what they were able to do. Inter more than deserves to be in the Champions League final.
And on multiple times, we've adjusted our style of play to cater the team that we're playing against. I mean, the only team that really has our number is Milan this year. And hats off to them. Whether it was Paulo Fonseca or Conceição, they knew how to play us. They knew how to handle us. Great. Nobody else seems to know how to. I don't know. Just a stupid take, but what do you expect?
That's not how I want to end the pod angry, but it has to be said, like, the disrespect for a manager who is doing everything with the resources that he has at his disposal. The players who have played 56, 57 games this year, it is insane what they are doing. And to disrespect them by talking about whether or not they deserve to get in the final, they're in the final. They deserve to be there. That's how this works. That's how this works. And I don't care about the other fan bases with their voodoos and their jinxes and all they want to do. It's going to kill me if Inter win this final and like all this stuff. Like, I get that. You're fans of the other team. Like, that is what it is. But for pundits to be saying this and not recognizing the Herculean effort that this team has given all year, it's ridiculous. I could not be prouder to be an Inter fan. I could not be prouder of this team. They do deserve it. They do deserve it. And yeah, at the end of the day, we're the ones that are in the final, playing this final. So congrats to all the Interisti that had the time of their life yesterday. I think we deserve it as well. Not everyone. But we do deserve it.
Sure.
Inter's not for everyone. All right, Johnny. Anything else? Maybe the longest pod in Interviews history.
Maybe. No, nothing else. I cannot wait for us to be in that final. I think we need to do like a whoever it ends up being, we need to do like a legit like deep dive preview episode.
Got it. I'll bring my stats. I'll break open this spreadsheet. All right, y'all. In the words of the great Roberto Scarpini, forza ragazzi, forza ragazzi, forza ragazzi.